A young man has been accused of murdering his elderly grandfather. Who is truly responsible for the horrifying act? Don't miss out. The psychics will reveal the awful truth. You are watching Psychic Investigations, a project of exclusively true and astonishing stories. People who call themselves clairvoyants investigate incredible paranormal phenomena and intricate criminal cases. Christmas Eve, in a small Ukrainian town, all the locals gathered with their families, singing carols and enjoying kutia. But the next morning, the town was shocked by terrible news.
The gruesome murder of a 74-year-old local resident, pensioner Stanislav Kucheryavi, was committed in this house. The man sustained 48 stab wounds. His body and face bore numerous injuries. His rib cage and hyoid bone were fractured, and his nose and lip were shattered.
But who would want to harm a mere elderly man? Who could dare to brutally murder someone on Christmas Eve? Panic and fear gripped the town.
It was terrifying. I couldn't sleep properly for many nights after that.
Stanislav spent his entire life in this town, where he worked as a driver. He had 2 daughters, Zoya and Olha. His wife passed away from a stroke. So, for the last 5 years, the man lived alone in this modest house.
Zoya called me and said, "Olha, our father is gone." I can't even describe how I felt. It was as if someone had killed me.
Olha rushed to her father's place, where she found police detectives.
The forensic examination revealed that the man died from traumatic shock and pain.
What Olha saw when she mustered the courage to enter the house is something she still can't bear to recall without tears.
There was blood all over the walls and ceiling.
After the tragedy, Olha suffered a nervous breakdown. She barely speaks now. The news of this cruel murder spread quickly through the town. No one could understand who and why would harm the old man.
We tried to determine if he owed anyone money, or if someone wanted to steal his belongings. None of these theories held up, though.
Nothing was stolen from Stanislav's house. As such, the motive for the murder wasn't robbery. The elderly man had no enemies either. Therefore, the motive for the crime remained unclear.
But Olha was in for another blow. Her son, Serhiy, the victim's grandson, was detained on suspicion of the murder. The police took the man directly from his home.
27-year-old Serhiy Bilodub was detained as a suspect in the murder of his grandfather. According to the investigation, he killed his grandfather due to personal animosity. The grandfather allegedly used to lecture his grandson, which he didn't like, until he eventually snapped.
However, Olha doesn't believe the police. She insists her son couldn't have committed the murder. The young man worked as a construction worker in Kiev and came home on weekends to help his family with chores. He often visited his grandfather and sometimes stayed the night.
Serhiy virtually lived here and was friends with everyone.
The grandfather and grandson understood each other like no one else. Serhiy called him my captain. The grandfather was an ex-serviceman and always gave his grandson wise life advice.
He says, "Mum, I couldn't have done it to Grandpa. This is impossible."
Serhiy has been behind bars for a long time now. Olha says her son is in despair. Every week he writes her letters, repeating, "I didn't kill him."
Serhiy Bilodub was sentenced to 15 years in prison. The accusation was based on the fact that the young man confessed to murdering his grandfather.
It wasn't him.
Olha claims her son was forced to confess. She argues that a 70-kilogram young man couldn't physically overpower his grandfather.
The victim weighed around 100 kilograms and, according to his relatives, was in good physical shape for his age.
Dad used to repeat, "Olha, I'm a paratrooper, nobody can beat me."
But who took the pensioner's life? This question haunts Olha. Every day, as she walks down the street, she looks into the eyes of every passerby, searching for the true murderer. To find out what really happened to her father on Christmas Eve, she turned to Kayal Alekperov for help. The psychic received Olha's letter while in Azerbaijan, visiting his family.
Unfortunately, I have urgent matters to attend to at home and must be with my family. I will try to investigate this matter remotely. I will ask my colleagues to meet with Olha.
Psychics Jana Shulakova and Larisa Mohila, accompanied by her female tarantula, 13, will take on the investigation to help Kayal.
When I tune into the photo, I see a knife swing and an endless number of strikes. There's a mark, a seal on the murderer. It's either a letter or a symbol. Could it be the murderer's name?
For some reason, I see a woman. She stands silently, with her hands covered in blood. And before her lies the body of a dead man. I don't understand the meaning of this vision. Who is the woman? Could she be the one who killed the old man?
Hello.
Please come in. My son is accused of murdering his own grandfather.
Is this your brother?
Yes, my elder brother.
No matter how hard I try to tune into the murderer's energy, I feel like I'm stepping into a world of illusions. I see distorted mirrors changing the images. It's strange. Like some force is distorting my visions, mixing them up, trying to prevent us from tracking down the killers.
Something's interfering. When I try to tune into the killer, some spirit blocks my way. I keep seeing an aggressive man coming towards me, as if he's trying to stop me from seeing clearly.
There's a strange entity near Jana and Larisa. It's like a knight in iron armor. He holds a massive sword covered in blood. He's here to kill. Oh God, he might harm my colleagues.
Who murdered Grandpa? Can you answer it, please?
I feel the energy of a woman all the time.
I don't know. I see the murderer with a...
Oh Lord, what happened?
Jana, over here.
What?
The vase, it was here, right on this spot. And my photo was here.
This is something mystical. There wasn't anybody in the kitchen, but it looks like someone smashed the vase.
The vase with Olha's photo specifically broke.
This knight in armor is trying to break into the real world. I will now say a prayer so that this knight cannot break into our world.
Who is this knight? And how is he connected to the murder of Olha's father?
The entity bore male energy. I realized that when it noticed I could see it, it got mad.
A man, but I see a woman. A woman is definitely involved in the murder.
I'm ready to bet it's a man. I see a male spirit.
To figure out what really happened, the psychics decide to visit the crime scene. The house where Olha's father lived is now empty. The relatives only come by to clean up, while the locals avoid the place altogether.
I think we should enter.
Thank you.
The house looks eerie from the inside. It's hard to imagine what kind of things happened here.
I can't see anything even here. I just have a red haze before my eye.
It's hard to describe it. When we arrived, the entire house was drenched in blood.
It feels like my colleagues stepped into a beast's lair.
You know, the interesting thing is, before all this happened, it was a peaceful home.
Absolutely, Grandpa was always cheerful.
Serhi often came here.
Because he felt comfortable here. Interestingly, I can almost see people peering through the windows. They're young.
They're of Serhi's age, his friends, his company.
It turns out that when Serhi visited his grandfather, his friends often came too. Could one of them have murdered the elderly man?
Could you please give me more details?
Just a moment. They're looking to see if anyone's home, and maybe they want to take something from this house, steal something.
But nothing was taken from the house. Is it possible that the young men got scared and ran away after the murder?
Your grandfather was open-hearted. Here, have some potatoes, some money, something for you, pal.
Serhi's friends who visited the victim became too impudent. Stanislav was kind, feeding the fellows and even giving them money. He was such a generous soul. And I saw a vision of them coming to his house again simply to take more money or eat.
They didn't kill him because they're just, they came and left.
We learned from the neighbors that a lot of people constantly came to the victim's house. So, the police questioned everyone who had access to Stanislav's home. None of them were in the house or nearby that night.
It's strange, I don't sense a murder at all.
I can't make out the murderer's image. I still sense a male phantom. Male hands.
No matter what you say, but I saw a female phantom. She carries a burden of guilt.
13 is showing me some movements, pulling me outside.
As soon as we were about to go outside, it was like someone slammed the door shut in front of us. Someone didn't want us to continue the investigation. It felt like someone was trying to trap us. It was that same entity that raged in the apartment and smashed the vase. I was tuning into the energy of the woman I sensed in Stanislav's man's house. Could she be the killer? Why is she all blue? Like she was strangled.
Who are you talking about?
Larissa that way. There she is, look. She's sitting under the willow crying.
She's holding her neck, trying to say something but can't.
Whose yard is it?
A young woman was killed here. She was strangled. Her name was Nastya. She was found strangled with tights.
The young woman dated a gypsy man. He killed her out of jealousy. He strangled his fiancée with tights.
Why is she crying?
And why is she showing a mirror?
I see a reflection in it.
It's the image of the man beating her.
The locals told us that this is where Nastya lived with her fiancé, and she suffered from his heavy hand almost daily. He beat her mercilessly.
The spirit of the deceased girl showed me a vision of her looking into a mirror, but in the reflection, I saw Olha. Someone's beating her too.
Vasya.
Vasya is Olha's ex-husband. He's the one who left her with 2 little sons. This is the most painful topic for Olha. Over the years she lived with the father of her sons. She endured so much suffering that not everyone could withstand it.
You forgave him.
Olha endured, believing she had to go through everything for the sake of her children, as they needed a father.
I see children's eyes witnessing this. Serhi witnessed his father beating you all the time. Is it true?
Yes. I asked him not to do it in front of the boy, but he didn't care.
While Sasha was still little, just a toddler who didn't understand what was happening between his mother and father, Serhi already grasped everything and somehow took on his father's aggression and his mother's fear. It's terrifying.
I smell alcohol. A glass was often in the man's hands, and it eventually killed him.
Cirrhosis.
She whispers, "Revenge, a sign of revenge," and she points her finger at Olha.
This is incredible, but it seems Olha doesn't understand why the suspicions always fall on her.
I think we should check the cemetery.
When we arrived at the cemetery, 13 went crazy. She jumped off my hand and refused to come back. If only I had understood then what she meant and what she felt, I would have never gone there.
Here's Grandpa.
We need to contact his spirit.
His spirit is not at peace. This only happens in a few cases. Either the murderer is not found, or the spirit has an unfinished mission in this world.
But what does all this mean? Is the man's murderer still walking the streets of the town? And is Serhi, this woman's son, serving an unjust sentence? But who is the beast who ruined 2 lives at once?
Hush, hush. Come sit down. Oh my goodness.
You're involved.
But why?
Why? What? Quiet, quiet. Have some water. Feeling better now?
Wait,
Is it normal?
it's the spirit.
Is he aggressive?
He possessed me and said she was involved.
Mom didn't do anything.
I never murdered anyone.
It seems neither Sasha nor Olha herself understands what the clairvoyant is talking about. Could the daughter be involved in her father's death?
I tried to contact Stanislav's spirit so he could finally tell us what happened. But he only wept and said, "Olha didn't kill me. No, my mother is not the murderer." It seems Grandpa is angry and accusing her of something else, but not the murder.
The entity that tried to chase us out of the apartment when the vase broke, the one that possessed me, appeared as a man. And I realized it was Olha's deceased husband, and for some reason, he was in a knight's armor, with a bloody sword in his hand. He's showing me visions of someone doing something and not being properly punished for it. And you seem to approve of it. He's showing me some grass, a bunch of it in his hand, and says you knew about it. You knew, but did nothing.
Could that grass be hemp?
The grandfather's spirit came to me. He wants to talk, and he says that Serhi used some kind of drug, and his mind was often clouded. But what's most terrifying, Olha did nothing to stop her son from using it.
You did nothing to stop him from smoking.
This is horrible. The boy got into trouble because of his stupidity, and his grandpa had an argument. The old man reproached him about the weed, explaining how bad it was. He was teaching Serhi.
It turns out Serhi and his grandfather did argue about marijuana and alcohol. So, could one of their conflicts have led to the fatal outcome? And did Serhi really kill his grandfather?
If they had kept an eye on him in time, there would have been no weed or arguments with the grandfather. I see another argument.
A celebration, a drinking party, Christmas. The grandfather went to bed, and the grandson walked around until morning. Then the grandpa woke up, saw the state his grandson was in, and started shouting. Serhi promised his grandfather he wouldn't drink or smoke weed. But on that Christmas Eve, he came to visit his grandfather and broke that promise. Of course, the grandfather got angry, and then something terrible started happening, something I'm afraid to even mention.
The grandfather's spirit says that Serhi became the knight in armor who tried to break into our world today. The knight was his father, a cruel man who abused Olha. After his death, his spirit didn't calm down and tried to harm his wife again. And he succeeded. On that Christmas Eve, when Serhiy was no longer controlling his mind, the knight with the sword possessed him.
It's as clear as noonday that Serhiy is guilty. You see how much filth he witnessed in his life? Let's start from his childhood. The beating by the father.
Yes.
The man beat you, right?
Right.
He saw it and it influenced his psyche. Then came the company, the weed.
Yes.
Alcohol, quarrels, fights.
I always told them to go away. Always.
I saw a vision. It was the murderer's hand with some kind of mark. A letter C. It was the hand of Serhiy, Olha's son. He had a similar tattoo.
Sergei tattooed the first letter of his grandfather's nickname, Captain. But his passion for drugs and alcohol led him to kill the man he loved so much.
I am to blame here.
Be strong.
Thank you.
It's a horrifying example of what alcohol and drug abuse can lead to. A mother of two was shot dead on the doorstep of her home. Who dared to do such a cruel thing? Don't miss out. The psychics will reveal a shocking family secret. Lilia Vionchek, an entrepreneur, lived in a small Ukrainian town just 14 kilometers from Poland. On November 1st, they celebrate the Catholic religious holiday All Saints' Day here. People visit the cemetery to light candles and remember their loved ones. It was on this day that Lilia met her end on the doorstep of her home.
Around midnight, on the doorstep of her home, 38-year-old Lilia Vionchek was killed. The woman was shot with a hunting rifle.
Lilia was married. She lived 18 years with her husband, Stas. At the time of her death, her children were just 16 and 9 years old. At the time of filming, Lilia's elder daughter, Joanna, is 22, and she's studying to be a manager in Warsaw. Her younger son, Artur, is 14, and he dreams of becoming a policeman to find his mother's killer. The boy took the tragedy very hard.
She was lying there, and he kept touching her and saying, "Cover, Mom, she's so cold."
He lived for his mom. I'm sorry, but...
Lilia's death is a devastating loss, not only for her family, but for everyone who knew her.
She was very hospitable. There wasn't a single celebration without her. Everyone loved her.
Lilia and Stas were entrepreneurs who made a living from wholesale food trade. They worked tirelessly for 18 years to build this house.
They lived well. They did everything together. They ran their business together, raised their children together, and built their home together.
However, Lilia didn't get to enjoy life in her new home. Just 2 months after the works were completed, she was murdered.
She was innocently killed, but why?
Nothing foreshadowed the tragedy that morning. The children were with their grandmother. Lilia and Stas went to commemorate their relatives in a nearby village. In the evening, they returned home.
After we parked the car in the garage, Lilia suggested we take a walk. The weather was nice.
They walked to the local cemetery. The tragedy occurred on their way back. Someone was waiting for them near the house and shot Lilia as she approached the door.
One shot was fired from a 16-gauge rifle using a cartridge loaded with birdshot. It contains 9 such pellets. Lilia sustained 3 through-and-through gunshot wounds to the chest, 2 penetrating wounds, and 1 through-and-through wound, each to the shoulder and forearm.
At that moment, Stas was in the garage. He rushed towards the sound that rang out near the house. What he saw left him in shock. His bloodied wife lay on the doorstep.
I started lifting her up. I called the police and then the ambulance.
However, the paramedics only arrived to pronounce her death. Lilia Vionchek died in her husband's arms.
A lung and the liver were damaged, causing severe internal and external bleeding.
The police spoke to nearly every resident of the town and nearby villages. No one saw or heard anything. The killer seemed to have vanished into thin air. The grief from losing his wife had completely shattered Stas's life. He now works in trade in another town. The house remains empty most of the time.
Lilia was the love of his life, his one and only wife. He loved her dearly.
Lilia's parents, Josefa and Josip, are the only members of the family that still live in the town.
She was honest, fair, and kind. She would never even think of harming anyone.
Lilia's parents sought help from the psychics. Two renowned psychics, Olga Kalinova from the Czech Republic and Ukrainian Molfar Olena Stetsenko, took on this complex case. Before their arrival, each psychic received a photo of the victim.
As soon as I tune into the woman, I sense profound emotional pain. She suffered because of a man, someone close to her. And the most terrifying part is that the man wanted her dead. I hear gunshots. I try to ask her spirit who this man is, but she won't tell me. And for good reason. She says he's dangerous.
I see the spirit of the woman in the photo standing before me. And there's a small boy's spirit standing in front of her, pushing me away as if to say, "Go away, don't touch her." But who is this boy? It's horrifying. This child shot in the head. Oh my God, a murdered child. But who? Who killed the boy? I sense that the death of this boy and he himself are connected to this woman in the photo. Hello.
Hello.
Please come in.
When I tune into the death of your daughter, I feel an intense wave of dark energy burning in my chest.
It's the energy of revenge. But whose revenge is it? And against whom?
Your daughter wasn't murdered here.
No, she didn't die here.
Indeed, Lilia Vionchek died in the yard of her home, 5 kilometers away from here.
At that moment, the spirit of the little boy I had seen before while working with Lilia's photo appeared before me again. He waved to me and said, "Come, follow me." And then he disappeared.
Who is the boy the psychic keeps seeing, and how is he connected to Lilia's death?
We need to work at the spot where your daughter was killed.
After Lilia's death, the family scattered. Joanna is in Poland, where she's working and studying. Artur stays either with his grandparents or his father. The family hasn't yet recovered from the terrible loss, so nobody is currently living in the house.
I simply couldn't come back home.
Stas is waiting for the psychics near the house. He arrived here once he learned about the arrival of the clairvoyants.
Hello.
As I get closer here, I feel a lot of pain. It paralyzes me. A shot. She died right here, didn't she?
Yes.
Lilia wasn't here alone.
2 women.
One of them ran and she's still scared.
Who is the woman the psychics are talking about? Could she be the murderer? But who is she?
The woman is a family.
That evening, at the cemetery near the grave of the husband's grandfather, the couple met Stay's cousin, Maria.
I thought it would be great to go to the cafe to have coffee. So Lilia told Maria, "Come with us. I'll change, and then we'll take the car and go."
Already in the yard, Lilia asked Stas to drive the car out of the garage.
She didn't like backing out of the garage.
Meanwhile, Lilia and her guest went to the front door, and then the shot rang out suddenly.
My first thought was that the women were fooling around, like they threw a firecracker or something. But when I looked out from behind the garage, Maria was screaming.
So, Maria is the only one who was with Lilia when the shot was fired.
She got scared terribly.
She's shouting out for help. She ran to that house.
It was a shocking situation.
The shot killed Lilia, who instantly fell to the ground, and the other woman, terrified, started screaming loudly. The victim's husband, according to his words, was in the garage at that moment. Hearing the shot, he ran out and rushed to his wife. Maria, shocked, simply ran out of the yard.
Maria is not suspected. The police detectives found that the shot was fired from behind the fence. But who and why did it? Why would someone want to kill Lilia?
And there was also a man. Who lives here?
Our neighbor.
He was walking around, bustling. He had a weapon.
And the man was nervous terribly.
The forensic experts calculated the distance from which the shot was fired, less than 5 meters. This indicates that the murderer fired from behind the fence, outside the yard.
But if the shot was fired from the neighboring yard, could it really have been the neighbor?
The murderer had an ambush here.
The criminal set up the place for the shooting right here, where they placed a platform.
But on the evening of your wife's murder, no one lived in that house.
The yard belongs to a man who uses the house as a country house and doesn't arrive often. As of November 1st, 2008, there was nobody there.
If Stas and Lilia's neighbor is not involved in the murder, then who entered the property and killed the woman?
The shot was very loud. It was a large weapon without a silencer.
A hunting rifle.
This is a very heavy weapon.
According to the examinations, the shot was fired from a rifle of the 16th caliber. Therefore, the investigators primarily began to work with people who owned such rifles.
Hunters use weapons to hunt wild boars. As it turns out, almost every other man in this town is a hunter. The police detectives searched for anyone in possession of a 16-gauge shotgun.
They collected rifles from everyone in the town and the surrounding villages.
There was a dark vehicle here after the shot.
When Stas called the police, they arrived at the scene within 10 to 15 minutes. A large crowd had gathered near the house by then, neighbors and relatives. Under those circumstances, it would have been impossible to escape unnoticed with a hunting rifle in hand. Therefore, the killer most likely arrived by car, left it somewhere nearby, and then fled the crime scene in it.
Is the man tall or short? What does he look like?
We need to go back to the yard.
Voices, voices. Stas killed his wife. What's this?
Everyone says you killed Lilia.
I didn't do it. The police accused me and made me a suspect.
Stas Vionchek was the initial suspect. The fact that he lingered near the garage and only arrived after the shot aroused suspicion.
Moreover, even today, Stas remains one of the main suspects in the murder, supposedly having killed his wife during an argument.
After all, Lilia's death was very beneficial for you. It was all about the money. Now you're in charge of the entire business. God, you also have a rifle at home, don't you?
During the search of the tragedy scene, a 16-gauge shotgun was indeed found in Stas's home. This is just incomprehensible. Could the killer be really standing right in front of the clairvoyants?
He had a rifle like the one used to kill her, but his was locked in a safe on the 3rd floor. Nevertheless, they said he ran up there, grabbed the gun, jumped over the fence, and shot her from the other side.
But he would never have enough time to do it.
Maria testified that I arrived within 7 to 5 seconds after the shot
Did they check your rifle?
and found it hadn't been used for a while.
The forensic analysis found that Stas's rifle had not been fired.
Moreover, after the murder, a K-9 unit with dogs was brought to the crime scene.
The dog only picked up my scent in the yard.
Therefore, Stas was in the garage at the moment of the tragedy. He did not enter the property from which the killer fired the fatal shot.
Look, the dead boy. Come on.
The clairvoyants stop at a neighboring yard. But why?
I see this carefree child. He's playing and jumping around. He has toys. Suddenly the picture changes. This boy lies on the ground with a gun wound in his head. Oh, it's so horrifying.
My son and his wife are his parents.
Your son?
It turned out that Ivan, Lilia's brother, used to live in this house with his family. One day, he and his wife went to celebrate one of their relatives' birthday and left their 9-year-old son, Robert, home alone.
I scent gunpowder and hear a shot.
When the couple returned home, they found their son dead, with a bullet in his head.
According to the relatives, the boy was shot in the head with a .412R pistol designed for firing rubber bullets. The weapon was found at the scene.
But Lilia's brother is screaming at her, "You killed my son!"
After the boy's tragic death, Lilia's brother and his wife couldn't bear to live in this house anymore. They moved to the other end of the town, and people still say that Lilia Wonchek died because she was involved in her nephew's death.
Everyone said terrible things about her. They threw so much mud at her.
The house is full of weapons.
He had both his personal guns and those he was given at work. Back then, they provided inspectors with guns.
Lilia's brother worked as an inspector in the customs service at the time. Everyone in that position was issued a weapon.
When I worked with Lilia's photos, the boy's spirit appeared before her. He tried to protect her from everyone, especially his father, because Lilia, his aunt, didn't kill him.
While the parents were at the birthday party, the boy found his father's pistol for firing rubber bullets and shot himself in the head. The investigation was closed quickly. The official cause of death was suicide.
The brother accuses his own sister of killing his son. But I don't see her at the scene.
At the moment of her nephew's death, Lilia was on her way home from abroad. She had been in Poland on business, and her alibi was confirmed.
Lilia's brother, it feels like he'd tried to kill her before.
According to family, Ivan, Lilia's brother, once shot at his sister, but he wasn't aiming at Lilia, and instead was fired a warning shot into the air. By interrogating the locals, we learned that Lilia and her brother had constant conflicts stemming from a family dispute that arose before Ivan's marriage.
Olga, look, there are 2 women and a third one between them.
Brother and sister were bitter enemies for years. Almost 20 years ago, Ivan married his current wife, who is also Lilia. Since then, he hasn't communicated with his family, as they didn't approve of his choice. The man stopped communicating both with his parents and sister.
The real war has begun.
Do you think your own son could have taken your daughter's life?
I'm afraid of him.
I need to see him.
No one answers the door at the man's home. Today, he owns a business and runs his own body shop nearby, so the psychics head there.
We'd like to speak to your boss.
I'm afraid I can't help you.
Suddenly, one of the mechanics runs up to the psychics and hands over a phone. It's Ivan.
Listen to me. Leave the premises now.
We'd like to ask you a few questions.
I don't care what you'd like. Do you get it?
I sensed the energy of a bitter, vengeful person.
Lilia's spirit won't speak to us here. We need to go to the cemetery.
Lilia, please talk to us. What happened between you and Ivan?
I don't see Ivan killing his sister, despite them not speaking for years.
Lilia's parents let out a sigh of relief for the first time since their daughter's death.
Lilia, my darling, forgive me. I should be lying here, not you.
Calm down. It's not your fault. But who did it?
Can you describe them?
Can you describe the murderer?
He has dark eyes. They're gray and green.
He's tall, in his 40s.
And he knows how to use guns well.
He was hired. I see that this murder was about money. It was an act of revenge.
So, money is involved in Lilia's death. But what revenge is the Molfor talking about?
Lilia says she made a deal with some people and lent them money.
She lent them the money to develop their business, but after a while, they didn't create the business. And they didn't return the money. So, she started trying to get her money back.
Lilia's husband confessed off camera that Lilia sometimes secretly lent money to her acquaintances without his knowledge. Perhaps even before her death, she lent someone a large sum, and when she demanded the debt back, they refused to pay.
She said something very harsh to those people who didn't want to pay back the debt.
Does it mean the woman was killed because of a debt that somebody refused to repay?
She must have felt or known something. Because even before her death, she told me, "Mom, I please take care of my children if anything happens." She sensed something. We'll work with the information we have. We'll go to the police and the prosecutor's office. I'll personally make sure the case is not hushed up. I'm so grateful to you.
What a horror. If you don't want to make enemies, don't lend anyone money, as the saying goes. A woman's father was brutally murdered on her very birthday. The police's verdict is shocking. The monster who committed the atrocity was her own husband. Don't miss out. A stunning revelation of a family tragedy. Thoughts about her own birthday bring only horror and painful memories to Kyiv resident Katerina Petrichenko. 2 years ago, what should have been a simple family celebration ended in the death of her 62-year-old father, Viktor Petrichenko. He was an engineering designer at one of the capital's research institutes.
I was so shocked. Just yesterday, he had been right here, and then such a horrible death.
Right here, on March 3rd, the body of Viktor Petrichenko was discovered with signs of a violent death.
His body was found at 4 a.m. According to the forensics, the man had been strangled.
Cause of death: mechanical asphyxia due to strangulation. Additionally, Viktor Petrichenko's body and face showed numerous injuries: bloody lips and nose, front teeth knocked out, and multiple bruises across his body.
Such a painful death. I miss him so much.
However, 2 weeks later, Katerina suffered another devastating blow. Her husband, Vitaly, was arrested for murder.
Vitaly Doroshenko was detained as a suspect in the murder of Viktor Petrichenko. The police claim Doroshenko killed his father-in-law due to personal animosity.
Katerina is a scientist at a governmental research institute. Vitaly was a graduate of Kyiv Polytechnic Institute, but had recently been working as a taxi driver, operating his own Chevrolet Niva. He and Katerina met on social media, fell in love, and married 3 years ago. The woman insists that Vitaly had no reason to kill her father. They never had conflicts.
On July 4th, the case was reclassified, and Vitaly Doroshenko was accused of murder for financial gain. He's allegedly wanted to claim his father-in-law's apartment.
However, according to Katerina, her husband would never have inherited her father's apartment. as the property legally belonged to her mother.
At present, the criminal case against Vitaly Doroshenko is being heard in court. If convicted, he faces a prison sentence of 7 to 15 years.
This is a double tragedy. I want to understand what happened and why.
On March 2nd, Katerina's father came to visit her to celebrate her birthday. She lived with her husband in the city center. They had tea, ate cake, and listened to music. Around 10 p.m., Vitaly left for work. And by 11 p.m., her father had also decided to head home. He always took the metro, so he walked to the nearest station. At 4 a.m., he was found dead just 100 meters away from his home in one of the city's residential districts.
The investigation presents the following theory. Vitaly offered to drive his father-in-law home. The older man got into the car, and as they approached his building, a conflict arose, during which Vitaly strangled him.
Vitaly is now 35 years old. He has spent the last 2 years in pre-trial detention. The man is desperate. He doesn't understand why he's being accused and insists that the last time he saw his father-in-law was when he left home for work that night. Vitaly's mother, Olha Doroshenko, also refuses to believe that her son could kill someone. Over the past 2 years, she has cried so much that she barely has the strength left.
My son is under investigation. He didn't do it.
I want justice to prevail for my husband to be released and for the real criminals to be found.
Azerbaijani psychic Kayal Alekperov and hereditary shaman Marina Komushku take up the case to find the truth.
Hello.
I'd really like you to help me find my father's murderer.
I'm asking you to help me and my son. He has been detained and accused of murder.
Do you have anything that belonged to your father?
I have his bracelet.
I see the last moments of your father's life.
Suffocation, some kind of rope.
But the rope used to strangle him isn't near the body.
It was supposedly a rope or a wire. The exact details are unknown.
Your father's heart stopped sometime after midnight.
According to the forensics, Viktor Petrichenko's death occurred at approximately 12:15 a.m. on March 3rd.
There's not a single witness. Nobody heard screaming or any suspicious noises.
We need to see the site where he was found.
Yes, okay.
I'm now tuning in to the night your father was murdered. I see you sitting at the table, the three of you, and then Vitaly leaves.
Yes, yes.
On the night of March 2nd to 3rd, Vitaly left for work at 10 p.m.
On March 2nd, I stood at my porch and saw Vitaly, wearing his jacket with a light collar, open his car, turn around, and drive off, alone.
Vitaly stopped not far from home.
I feel that both Katerina's husband and father were in the same location.
We found Vitaly's colleague who stated that on March 2nd at 10 p.m., Vitaly was about 200 meters from the building where he lived with Katerina, not far from the metro station.
The area around the metro station is a lucrative spot for taxi drivers. It's always busy here, meaning more chances to earn. So, could Vitaly have anticipated that his father-in-law would take the metro home, so he met him near the metro station, offered him a ride, and then killed him?
I don't see Vitaly in the same location as your father. It seems your husband had already left by then. They were in the same place, but at different times.
But the police investigators claim that Vitaly killed Viktor. Could Vitaly have waited for his father-in-law near his home and strangled him there?
I'm having a vision. People pass by your husband's car. They're wearing blue uniforms. Most likely they're from the police. They are searching Vitali's car, taking notes. And most importantly, they found something. I hear someone shouting, "There's blood here."
According to the defendant's wife, the car was searched on March 6th. On the left side of the passenger seat's backrest, a blood stain was found. According to forensic examination results, it was the blood of the deceased.
But how did Victor's blood end up in the car? Unless Vitali really had driven him home, could Katerina be covering for the murderer? Or is his mother simply unable to believe who her son really is?
Some evidence was found in his clothing.
On March 20th, when Vitaly Doroshenko was detained, his clothing was seized for forensic analysis.
The trousers that were taken from Vitali allegedly also had traces of the victim's blood.
Here, right here, they found a detail that became very important in this case.
20 centimeters from Viktor Petrichenko's head, a 5-centimeter piece of white rope was discovered. On it, there was a brown-colored residue.
According to the forensic experts, it was Vitaly Doroshenko's blood. But how did this small piece of rope end up at the crime scene? And why was Vitaly's blood on it? Could it be a fragment of the murder weapon?
I hear accusations against him. And not only him. The victim's daughter is also being blamed. Was she also accused of murdering her father?
The uniformed people are writing something down and repeating, "You killed him. You both killed him."
After her father's death, Katerina was accused of his murder. The claim was that she and her husband had strangled her father and then dumped his body outside the entrance of the building where he lived. And now, Vitaly refuses to implicate his wife to avoid receiving a longer sentence for a joint murder.
I see a number of people in the car. They're sprinkling something black inside. Inspecting it.
As soon as the police discovered Viktor Petrichenko's body, they immediately went to see his daughter.
The policeman quickly informed the victim's daughter about the tragic news and began interrogating Katerina and her husband. A few hours later, they searched Vitaly Doroshenko's car, which was parked near the entrance to the building where they lived.
They started rummaging, taking photos. Then they seized the floor mats from under the front seats, took them, and then covered the entire car in black powder. On the 3rd, after they smeared it, we went to the car wash to clean it and wipe off the black dust.
Someone pointed at your husband saying, "He's the murderer." A woman. It's your mother.
Yes.
But she didn't even know your husband's face.
She'd never seen him before. And yet, for some reason, she immediately developed this attitude towards him.
The prosecution's case against Vitaly Doroshenko is based solely on the testimony of Katerina's mother. Katerina's mother is also Katerina. She's convinced that her son-in-law killed her husband. Could she have seen or known something?
This is my mother's apartment.
Who's there?
Salam alaikum.
Hello. What's going on here?
Hello, Psychic Investigations. I'm Kayala Lekperov, and this is Marina Komushku. We're here to talk about your son-in-law.
What son-in-law? He's a damn murderer. He killed my husband. Let Vitaly and my daughter hide together. He killed him, assisted by my daughter, who's not here.
No one expected this. The woman doesn't even notice that her own daughter is standing directly in front of her. It turns out that older Katerina has been struggling with alcoholism for years. She lost custody of her daughter when she was little.
Katerina was raised by her parents until she was 4 years old. But then, her mother began drinking heavily. When she lost all control, she was stripped of her parental rights.
Katerina says her mother was gorgeous in her youth. It's no surprise that her father fell in love with her. However, Katerina doesn't remember her mother ever working. A few years into their marriage, she began drinking.
Katerina was raised by her grandparents. Victor was always at work.
Victor inherited the apartment where the family lived from his parents. As a gesture of love, he transferred ownership to his wife. That's why he couldn't just leave her, and he didn't want to. Until his last days, he tried to save the former beauty, who was sinking deeper and deeper into alcoholism.
He tried to help her, but she refused treatment.
I feel sorry for her. I'd like to help, but she doesn't want my help. You saw how she treats me. It's heartbreaking.
I don't need her. That daughter, I don't need her. May she be cursed along with him. That scoundrel belongs in prison for life.
The most horrifying fact is that Vitaly Doroshenko was arrested as the prime suspect solely based on the testimony of the woman who doesn't even recognize her own daughter and has been drinking for over 30 years.
Aside from Katerina's mother, there is no other testimony against Vitaly.
I'm speechless. How could the police base the case on this woman's testimony? She doesn't understand what's happening.
It turns out that Vitaly Doroshenko, who has spent the past 2 years in pretrial detention for the alleged murder of his father-in-law, also wrote to the psychics. According to his relatives, investigators have been trying to force a confession out of him, but he refuses to give in.
Vitaly Doroshenko denies any involvement in the crime. According to his family, the police have pressured him to confess.
Vitaly filed a complaint with the Kiev prosecutor's office, stating that he had been subjected to torture and other unlawful interrogation methods.
The prosecutor's office investigated his complaint, but found no grounds to open a criminal case.
I'm seeing images from the night Victor died. Your son is in a strange place. I see a large table covered with multicolored balls.
According to the suspect's wife, on the night of March 2nd to 3rd, her husband was in a cafe in one of the city's residential areas, where he was playing billiards with his friend.
Katerina says her husband worked throughout the city. Sometimes, when he had no clients, he would wait at cafes. That's what he did on the night of March 2nd to 3rd. After dropping off the passenger in the sleeping area, he waited for the next call at the cafe.
That night, I met with my classmates around 11 p.m. About an hour and a half later, Vitaly arrived. We started playing pool.
But if Viktor Petrichenko's death occurred after midnight, and by 12:30 a.m. Vitaly was at the cafe, could he have killed his father-in-law?
He stayed with us for about an hour and a half, and then he left.
But if that's the case, then how did Victor's blood end up in Vitaly's car?
The blood was found after the car had been washed. Several days later.
The first inspection of the car took place on March 3rd, right after the murder. No stains or traces of blood were found at that time. Blood traces in the car were discovered only on March 7th. But according to official records, Victor's blood sample was collected on March 6th. That coincidence seems very strange to me.
On March 6th, they took a blood sample from my father's body. And on the 7th, bloodstains appeared in Vitaly's car and on his clothes.
His clothes were taken away clean, and later they turned up covered in blood. But the blood wasn't fresh, it was planted.
The suspect's trousers, which allegedly had traces of the victim's blood, were seized from Vitaly on March 20th, the day of his arrest. However, it is strange that, on the night of Viktor Petrichenko's death, the suspect was wearing different pants. This was confirmed by surveillance footage from the cafe.
And the piece of rope found here, with traces of your husband's blood, it seems to disappear later. How is that possible?
The defense requested an expert analysis to determine the murder weapon. The investigation denied the request. without explanation.
You mentioned the piece of rope earlier, and now it turns out nothing can be determined from it. Only fibers remain.
But wasn't the suspect's blood allegedly found on that piece of rope? Did the police deliberately destroy the only evidence linking Vitaly to the crime scene? Why would they do that?
During court proceedings, all evidence must be preserved. The rope fragment was a crucial piece of evidence. Destroying it is illegal.
When the rope fragment was discovered, the investigation report initially didn't mention any stains or traces. Only later was it allegedly found to contain Doroshenko's blood. However, the fragment has now been destroyed on the chief investigator's order.
I'm receiving an image of your father walking. From that direction. I don't see him riding in a car.
The police dog at the crime scene picked up a trail that confirmed the victim had not traveled by car. He had arrived by metro. The dog followed the trail to the metro station.
He's innocent. Your son did not kill anyone.
This is a setup. The police believed your mother's testimony.
No matter how I feel about her, she's still my mother. But her inability to understand the situation has brought so much pain. It's heartbreaking. I hope she realizes the truth.
But if Vitaly is innocent, why has he been kept behind bars for 2 years?
There's an arrest placed on this property. Everything is in limbo. Could this be some kind of scheme? Tell me, how was my father killed?
There was more than one killer. Nothing was planned.
He emerged as if from underground, most likely from the metro. To the right, there is another archway. He usually passed through it to get to his entrance. But that night, someone was there. 2 young men. Your father got scared and walked further. He sped up, but the men ran after him. Right here, they attacked him. Threw a rope around his neck. One strangling while the other rummaged through his pockets. First, a blow to the face, and after he lost balance, they tightened the cord around his neck.
Then they ran away.
They wanted to rob your father. Something went missing.
When Viktor Petrichenko's body was discovered, his wallet, which according to Katerina, contained about 800 hryvnias, and his pension certificate were missing.
This wasn't their first robbery. They had attacked others in this same area before.
In the archways, you walk in with a bag and they watch you, or they lurk near the playground. The moment you enter the archway, one rushes out and grabs your bag, or your earrings, or your necklace. It happens constantly. Just recently, they robbed someone and stripped them near the first entrance.
I want to express my deepest gratitude. I truly hope that everything you said today will be heard, and it will help us. Vitaly will finally be released, and my father may finally rest in peace. Thank you so much.
A resonant case. A young woman and her 5-year-old son's throats were slit in their own apartment in broad daylight. Don't miss out. The psychics will track down the ruthless murderer. Ukraine. A city was shaken by horrific news. A 29-year-old woman and her young son were found murdered in their own apartment. Both had their throats slit.
On the 4th floor of this building, Zoya Maligina and her 5-year-old son, Misha, were brutally murdered.
The police arrived less than half an hour after the bodies were found.
The streets were cordoned off with tape.
They searched every blade of grass, every flower. Nothing was overlooked.
The locals were stunned. Who could have committed such a cruel act, and why?
This was a shock for everyone. They were tortured so viciously.
Alina Voznuk is Zoya's best friend and colleague. The 2 women had been close for 4 years, visiting each other's homes and going to the movies and parks together. But now, Alina can only visit Zoya at the cemetery.
Zoya and Misha rest together in the same grave.
Everyone is shocked. A young woman and a little boy.
Why were they killed?
I couldn't believe it. It's horrifying.
People panicked. Some feared a serial killer, while others suspected a cult murder.
Zoya was a hairdresser at a local beauty salon.
This where she worked. All our clients loved her, not just as a stylist, but as a person.
She was kind. She never had conflicts with anyone.
I will always remember her as a bright soul, kind and compassionate. People like her are rare.
But who could have committed this horrific crime? Who would want to harm an ordinary woman and her little son?
After examining the crime scene, the police found no fingerprints or murder weapon. Studying the shape and depth of the wounds on the bodies, the experts concluded that a standard kitchen knife was used. But they couldn't determine where it came from.
But the most terrifying part is that it was done in broad daylight. The official police report states that the murders occurred between 9 a.m. and 2 p.m. Yet neighbors never heard anything strange, and no one saw anything suspicious.
I was home that day, but I heard nothing.
The worst part is that no one knows anything.
Alina still hasn't come to terms with her friend's tragic death, and Zoya's family remains devastated. They long to understand what happened to the young woman and her 5-year-old son, but their religious beliefs prevent them from seeking help from psychics.
I have no idea how her mother copes. Losing both her daughter and grandson at the same time and then burying them together.
Alina's heart breaks knowing the murderers are still free. So she decided to write a letter to the people with extraordinary abilities.
I want them to find the person who did this. I want justice.
Psychic Jana Shulakova begins working with a photograph of Zoya and her son.
About a month before Zoya's death, a shadow from her past entered her life. It terrified her, constantly reminding her of its presence. And in the end, it wrapped around her neck and strangled her.
Joining Jana Shulakova in this brutal murder investigation is clairvoyant Olga Kalinova.
When I look at this photo, I immediately see the image of a woman filled with rage, overflowing with aggression. Oh God, she killed children. She might be connected to these deaths.
The meeting with the psychics was set in the place Zoya often visited with her son, the city's Central Park, where they strolled every weekend.
Hello, my name is Alina.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you so much for responding.
We will do everything we can to help.
I need to tune in to work.
If possible, may I connect with your friend through you?
Oh my God. She lies like a broken bird. Her eyes are open and her body is twisted.
She's lying on the bed with her child. Her hands are tied.
Her mouth is gagged. Before her very eyes, her son's throat is being slit.
God, what a monster did this.
The bodies of Zoya and her son Misha were found on the couch in the bedroom. Zoya lay on her back, her hands tied behind her, her right leg bent, her eyes wide open. On the edge of the couch lay her son.
That day, nothing foreshadowed tragedy. She was home with her little boy.
Zoya had a day off. She was at home with her son.
Zoya planned to spend the day in the park, where the psychics are now, but fate had other plans. By the next day, she was buried.
There were 2 coffins at the funeral. It was a terrible funeral.
She loved him so much. She lived for him. He was polite and well-mannered.
Zoya's personal life hadn't worked out. She divorced her husband 4 years before the tragedy. Her son was her entire world.
I see a woman walking near the bodies of the mother and son.
Wait, she's a relative. Oh, God. Could a family member have killed her?
Jana, it's her mother.
It turned out that Zoya's mother was the one who found the bodies in their apartment. All three lived there together. The police investigators immediately began looking into her whereabouts and activities before discovering the bodies.
Wait, that morning she left for work.
She was among many people asking them for something.
Zoya's mother is a bus conductor. On the day of her daughter's murder, she had been on her shift from early morning until noon and returned home around 4 p.m.
She entered the apartment, walked into the room, and saw the two lifeless bodies.
She was in total shock.
What a tragedy! It's impossible to imagine what the woman went through.
We must go to the crime scene and see it.
Zoya's mother now lives alone in the apartment where the tragedy occurred. The psychics and Alina arrive there. But Zoya's mother does not know they are coming, so she may not be home.
Here we are. This is where Zoya lived. Her apartment was on the 4th floor.
Shall we try to enter it?
She's probably not home.
I had a vision again. I saw the shadow that followed Zoya. I couldn't tell if it was a person or just a dark presence, but it was here, right before her death. It's unbearable to stand here. I feel like I'm about to be sick. I felt everything she suffered. The horror and the torture that young woman endured before her death. I need to sit down.
Are you feeling better?
Not at all. There's a smell of blood. I don't see splatters, but I feel like the blood seeped slowly and deeply into everything.
The human throat contains major arteries, and even a slight cut can cause blood to spray violently. Strangely, in Zoya's apartment, where she and her son were murdered, there was no blood on the walls or the furniture. Instead, the blankets and mattress were soaked with it.
Something is off. The day was chosen deliberately.
Was this a ritual?
But what does this all mean? Could Zoya and her son have been victims of a ritual murder?
I keep seeing her working with her hands, embroidering something, stitching angels.
Yes, she embroidered beaded paintings and icons.
Like her entire family, Zoya was deeply religious. She attended church every Sunday and confessed regularly.
She went to church often. She said it gave her peace of mind.
Ritual murders are often planned carefully. Victims are chosen with precision. They must be pure, kind, and honorable. Devout Zoya and her innocent son were perfect targets.
But I see no pentagrams or ritual objects.
Police investigators considered the theory that the crime might have been religiously motivated.
There were no signs of ritual murder.
Then I realized we needed to search for Zoya's killer among her acquaintances. Among the men who loved her.
I now see Zoya fighting with someone and arguing intensely. Then she kicks him out. I think it's her ex-husband.
They divorced long ago.
Zoya's ex-husband's name is Denise. They met 8 years before the tragedy, got married, and a year later, their son, Misha, was born. However, the marriage only lasted about a year. Zoya initiated the divorce. So, could her ex-husband be the murderer?
I don't see him at the crime scene. He has his own family now.
After the divorce, Denise met another woman. They married and have a daughter.
He was in a place filled with bricks. A construction site.
That's his job.
Zoya's ex-husband works as a construction foreman. On the day of Zoya and their son Misha's murder, he was at work.
So it turns out that Zoya's ex-husband is not involved in the crime. But who killed this young woman and her innocent son, and why?
Since Zoya was a hairdresser, it's likely that the killer had been one of her clients. Let's check the salon.
This was her workstation.
Something's behind that wall. Let's go. It's a man. I fear him. He's demanding something from me. I've seen him before. He could hurt me. Physically. They're old acquaintances.
I see Zoya arguing with him. A heated fight.
Alina suddenly remembered that shortly before Zoya's death, she had seen her friend step outside the salon, talking loudly to a man.
A man came and Zoya confronted him.
But Zoya never told anyone who he was.
In this exact spot, near the beauty salon, Zoya met with a man a week before her murder. This was captured by security cameras outside the salon.
However, in the footage, the man's back was turned, making identification impossible. Zoya's co-workers noticed that in the days leading up to her death, she was deeply upset and often cried.
I asked her, "Zoya, what's wrong?" But she said it was nothing.
That shadow I saw while working with her photograph in her apartment, in her salon, it's the same man. He had been following her, constantly appearing around her. But I still didn't understand what he wanted. I suggest that we go to the cemetery.
News of the psychic's investigation had reached the police. The chief of the local police department, Vasil Patashchuk, arrives to speak to the clairvoyants.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
We would appreciate any help you can offer.
We need time to perform a ritual, to call upon Zoya's spirit.
While the psychics were working, it grew dark. What would they uncover?
Zoya's here. I see the apartment door was open. The murderer entered unobstructed.
Did Zoya leave the door open?
She just didn't think about it. The door wasn't broken down, it was just open.
According to the investigation files, Zoya had been to the dry cleaners to take 2 rugs that she had left there earlier. The distance from her home to the cleaner is about 300 meters. She could have walked it in 5 minutes.
She took the rugs to be cleaned. There's a gas station and a car wash nearby. She returned from there, and the door was open.
After bringing back the first rug, Zoya planned to step out immediately to collect the second.
It feels as though Zoya didn't meet her killer in real life. They met either through phone calls or over the internet. And most importantly, he was behind bars at the time.
We discovered that a year before her death, Zoya had been in contact with an unidentified man over the phone. After Zoya and her son were brutally murdered, her mother remembered this strange acquaintance and reported him to the police. They investigated his identity and found that the man had been incarcerated multiple times for theft and armed robbery.
But how did this man come into Zoya's life?
They met up. Their conversation was heated, but it was still just a conversation. No intention to kill. Double presence. There should have been 2 involved.
Yes, a woman and a man.
They are being pursued legally. They have either been arrested or are under suspicion.
A pre-trial investigation is underway.
I couldn't understand what the man and woman were demanding from Zoya so aggressively. They were threatening her son in front of her.
There was some sort of agreement, but a very sinister one.
It's possible that the man had given Zoya a part of the money he'd stolen, perhaps to start her own business. We learned that shortly before her death, she had bought new tools for her salon. However, for unknown reasons, she never opened the business. After being released from prison, her creditor returned, demanding repayment.
The woman who accompanied the killer was angry and aggressive. He brought her along intentionally to pressure Zoya.
Most likely, when they entered Zoya's home, they didn't plan to kill her. They probably just wanted to threaten her. But when Zoya said she would call the police, warning them that she could put them back behind bars, this might have triggered the murders.
I see Zoya being thrown onto the bed, her hands tied, her mouth gagged. The female attacker walks into the kitchen and grabs knives. Then she runs toward the boy and throws him onto the bed.
The boy's pants were torn, indicating that he had been dragged by the legs. Most likely, this happened while the murderers were pulling him, and he was fighting back.
The woman ran a knife across the boy's throat. How awful. The child's death was the last thing his mother witnessed. Then the man grabbed a knife and slit her throat.
Zoya died from multiple small surgical cuts. That is, the man knew exactly what he was doing.
It was indeed done professionally. There were no blood splatters on the walls or furniture. The blood was absorbed entirely into the pillow and mattress.
The investigation is ongoing, so the police can't disclose the details. But Vasil Tashchuk hinted he had a strong suspicion about whom the perpetrators might be, as some of the suspects fit the psychic's descriptions.
His grandfather was Tatar. His father was Uzbek. His mother was Ukrainian. And he lived in this city.
The man had previously worked at a slaughterhouse, so he knew exactly how to slit a throat without spraying blood. That explains why there was no blood on the walls, furniture, or ceiling. It had all soaked into the mattress. The woman also had legal troubles, and she had likely met her accomplice shortly after his last release from prison, about 2 months before the murder.
Yes, she has been detained by the police before, and there was an ongoing investigation against her. She had also previously been prosecuted for theft.
Now I understand the vision I had when I first received Zoya's photo. The woman who had killed many children was the killer of the boy. I sensed that she hated children. She had previously undergone dozens of abortions, which too is a form of murder.
Investigators found that the woman had undergone more than 10 abortions, ultimately leaving her permanently infertile.
This is unbelievable. But if this is true, then how was Zoya connected to those people? How did she meet her killers?
It began as a search for love, but soon that search for love became a search for death.
She communicated with the man but didn't know that he had been behind bars at the time. He dragged her into something dark, but she realized the danger too late.
I'd like to thank you. We will work on this information immediately.
Thank you too.
This has been so painful. It was so hard to process. But after hearing what the psychics revealed, I truly feel better, knowing that those people will finally be punished.
As we found, the investigators verified all the information provided by the psychics. The criminals turned out to be a man and a woman with a history of legal trouble. And the most horrifying truth is that Zoya had previously been in a relationship with the man who later took her and her son's lives.